Okay, here we go. Let me read this around here. Okay, well, but we'll just read the bottom and see if we get how far we can get through this. So he said, "V'hine tachlis knesses chesadim e'elu l'ham tega gevuras chazakos hashabah." That's what starts. He said, "V'hine rabberich b'kol tachlis hagavana shel knesses chesadim de'ima l'nok." He l'ham tega gevuras v'chazakos shenimsoim kvar b'kodim. So in other words, this is what it's always there. But here he says the chesadim are coming from Ima. It's just a little confusing to me because I thought Lima was on the left side. But let's see the Shes chesadim gevoros for the Baal and Besod Yamini Tach Bekenik and Nizka the Ale. But the Shavchom Becham Tikon Besod of Yaminu Tach Bekeni. Kamosha Kasav Arav the Ale, the Yaminu Tach Bekeni, that should be hugging me. Who's sod hamtoka? This is the concept of bringing the right line in to sweeten the left. The chen sark should be yom rishon niknas chesed the gevur shebakulim. So then you have the situation that in the first day, niknas, that is the first day I said of the 5 days. So he says the lowest form of chesed comes in. The chen chuchrak the hikana b'techida v'chamalchus shebechesed shebechesadim. The imach of Now, here's the first question that I had there. Now, let me think, just see, because my mind's a little bit weak here today. He said, Now, the chesadim, I thought, were you're dealing with 5 chesadim. And that doesn't include malchus unless you decide that malchus, that you have yesod, which is a kolel, and a kolel like that. So he says that's the first thing that happens. Shehu klalos ha'aras ha'chesadim. Now he says that the shecha became chedek ha'malchus shebanot. Kevin shehi ha'aras v'chlalos ha'chamisha chesadim. That's what it is. Shehi chedek ha'malchus shel nanuk, and it really has to do with the malchus of the nuk. V'chein hi gerua mekulam. It's the least of them. V'afal pi, and even though shehi misbatelas, and even though that it winds up, it's like a drop of cold water into a boiling pot, so to speak. Al pi shehi misbatela b'selcha gevura, so it becomes nullified because of all of the gevuras are very strong. V'chafida shechachazanim achalosh achesed achalosh kashenik does a tokanuch. He misbatela b'koach of gevuras achazachas and imsoim bo. So v'im kol zera b'oisach b'sham ezer roshem shall tikkun behechrach, but it does make an impression. Mikol makom b'chuch muchrach shehi oser sham katzas roshem. Ki kol davar shebegedusha misheiram roshim tamid ki yidu. It always leaves anything that's kadosh. Always is never disappears. V'hu katzas tikun l'nuk. So it helps a little bit. The gevar efsher l'havei od chesadim, and it helps to bring other chesadim. V'lo yizbatu kol kach mekoach gevuros. V'yom sheni niknas chesed yosef b'shuva v'ozer roshim yoser gadol. V'yom sheni he says chesed yosef b'shuva v'yoser elyon. The harek of chesadim niknas milamata l'mala. We got the low one ya'asa roshim yoser gadol. It makes a bigger impression. V'chein al derek zeh, same thing. We go this way. Cholkin nischazkin, they go and they strengthen themselves. Val derek zeh yekontzach chesadim b'kol yom. So therefore they're coming in every day. Kol yom chesed yosef meshuva v'yosef elyon mechavedrach v'yischazko chesadim. He said shelo yuchlo gevuras lebatlam. So he said, until finally the ultimate chesed comes in, the chesed that is bigger than all of them. Ba'achrona comes in last. Yom Tov Rishon Shel Chag SUCCOS. Now you've reached the first day of Yom Tov. Which was what? Who chesed, the chesadim, it's the chesed, the chesadim, ba'achrona comes last. Yesh becha bekoch his gaver, so it has the ability to be what does that mean? His gaver, machbes harishimim, because it can gain control, I guess. Machbes harishimim, the rishimim, I don't know. Shenaasa chesadim v'rishonim. V'koch zeh niknas ba'achrona. Yesh becha bekoch his gaver. His gaver ala gevuras mekoch harishim becha shehi shira benuk. Kol chesadim v'rishonim shenitnusuch lefanim v'hoye yoser ketanim imanu. V'az mizmasbim and mizmaktim agavuros, and that's what happens here. They become more sweetened, they become workable. So now Sukkah starts. V'az niknasim b'chasadim agadolim sheb'nizbasmim. V'gam nimtakim called the necho v'v'chasecho v'kashos. V'az ansher the kayim as a mitzvah as a mitzvah agadolah, which is what? V'simachta v'chagecho. V'simachta v'tefidech Hashem. V'simcha v'tov lev. So all of this happiness comes in because now you have all the sweetening that you need. So let's go on and say a little bit more. He's in there pasha too. So he says the very pasha. The or panimi. Makdimin his pashat kodev chasadim the or makif, they start first. So comes the panimi, then comes the makif kanaida. Very pashat too. The chasadim boim or panimi the imach makdimin the hikodes the fnecha chasadim the or makif. The ima. Ki tamben panimi nimshach the fnecha the makif the chem davka beoros chasadim panimim the ima. So only in race of these chesadim that are inside niknazim alamata lamalo. So here we say that they come in, the chesadim come in from the bottom to the top. The locha makifin the ima, but not the makifin. They don't go that way. Because now that you brought them in, starting with malchus and then winding up going through all of them, the nook is sweetened. Now so now it says Rav Seder. So he says that you have how this order goes. B'sidram kahu be'erev Yom Kippurim. So let's talk about that. Neknasa b'yisod malchus hachasada b'benim de'ima. So this is where the chasada b'benim. That's his when be'erev Yom Kippurim on the 9th day of Tishrei. U'memachar Yom Kippurim. Then you come to Yom Kippur. Maskil lehikonis kol Yom or echad benuk. Behold, the Venatzach of the Tiferes going this way, Gevura, and then Ad should be Yom Harishon the Sukkos, Maske Likonet Benipius Oros Chesadim the Ima Beso Bechesed the Duk. So you already have at this time a certain quantity because you got to get to 7, and there's only 5 days between Yom Kippur and Sukkot. So he tam Masha Amrach Achmein Zechonat V'Rocho, Kol Oichel V'Shoyse B'Dishi. He's anach the shev v'siri. Ki tam lama lamash amr chachamenu zechron v'rocha kol ha'oicha v'yom r'dishi v'siri v'yimei the aseres yimei tshuva. Harei ki ila his anach shnei yamin da'aydach tishi v'siri. Hu mifnei ki b'yom ahu, and here's the secret here. He says because on this day, nenasrach b'chol v'chayisod, this removes the whole yisod and malchus, the rachel nuk the zer anpen. Hatam, so he explains out. He says, "Hatam hu mifnei ki biyom de'shihin enasrin merachol shehi nuk dezer anpin." With merachol, of course, malchus. So he says, what happens then? Shlosh spheres hod yisod the malchus. So they all become loose. They become separated from the back of their anpin. V'am niknas be'az bechinas klavos ha'aras ha'chasad b'malchus shabbat. V'am niknas be'erev Yom Kippur bechinas ha'oras the klavos ha'chasadim b'malchus shabbat. Gemoshe mevar b'sider b'gavana zachreno. So you have that over there. All of this is coming in. V'achar kach bechinas ha'klalusan b'yisod shebach and his gadayel. Then the klalo comes in. The kolel comes in. V'ba'os ha'yom shehu erev Yom Kippur niknas achar kach gam bechinas ha'klalos ha'chasadim b'yisod. The nook that also comes in at that time. V'amdal b'yom kippurim and Yom Kippur. So loka ha'gevuros v'chachoisen me'imei law. It takes then the gevuros and also the seal from imei law, k'nichdach of the ereb b'koma, which I guess was written about. He wrote about this in previously. So he says amnam be'etzem Yom Kippurim ain't v'kabela chesadim. She doesn't receive chesadim then. Raka Gavur's only Gavur's for Hachosim Me'imach Law, but he Yosem Sham Lomala up there. Gemoshe Kasev Rav the El B'Makomo. So I talked about that. We'll go on. V'ata be'arba Yomim Sheyesh Mumotzi Yom Kippur. Then you have 4 days. Comes after Yom Kippur. Ad Yom Arishon the Chag SUCCOS, and then coming to the first day of Hag SUCCOS. V'ata be'arba Yomim Sheyesh Ben Yom Kippurim Ad Yom Tov Rishon the Chag SUCCOS. He says Yud Aleph Tishrei, which is these dates, the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th of Tishrei. That's what comes in. What's going on now? That's where we're at. Niknasim Arba Chesadim Acherim. The other 4 chesadim comes in. Gam came b'mata lamala, also the lowest one first. Kaniska the el, as we mentioned. Niknasim Arba Chesadim Acherim v'chem hod v'chesadim v'chesadim ad chesed the chesadim until you reach the chesed of the chesadim. Next big Yom Rishon the Chag SUCCOS, which comes in on the first day of the Chag SUCCOS. Because that's how they go in. Kodem hod amadrega. Kodem hod amadrega hagarua. So first comes hod. The Vasof chesed shuhu amadrega hadyona, until finally you get to chesed, which is the top. The Moshe Kosid is karna shagabar is karna la'el. We mentioned it. V'hem chesed shebahod biyom rishon, v'chesed shebenetz biyom sheni, v'chesed shebedevich biyom shlishi, v'chesed devucha biyom avi, shu erev chag SUCCOS. So now you have 4 of them came in. So which was the last one? The chesed of gevura. V'chesadim v'niknas and benuk melamata l'malachem, chesed shebahod, shebekabela biyom rishon, yud aleph tishrei, shu amamecharis yom kippur. V'chesed shebenetz shebekabela biyom sheni, yud beis tishrei, which should be today. V'chesed shebefer shebekabela b'yom shlishi yud gimel tishrei. V'chesed shebebucha shebekabela b'yom revihi yud dal, which is on the yud daled of Tishrei. V'hu erev yom tov harishon shel chag SUCCOS. So this is what's going on now. He said v'yom tov harishon shel chag SUCCOS. Now we come to the first day of SUCCOS. 1 second. One second of SUCCOS. We have 2 bechinos that are happening over here. The day itself, which we're talking about the bechin of the day itself. That's when the chesed penimium comes. But v'yom rishon niknas chesed shebechesed, the chesed penimium the ima. So that's when you get the final bit of chesed here. Bechinas mitzvahs asukah, and together with that, asukah shebo niknas and bechesed b'chamakivim the ima, because there you see the sukkah itself represents the concept of a makif. So therefore the first chesed comes in. That's what happens. So this is the chesed of the so let me use shuhu chesed the chesadim, the chesed the chesadim makifim the ima, and it's a makif, a mamte called the denim, which sweetens everything. V'zechah na'asach yedecha bechinas hayom ba'atz b'chol k'shar hayomim v'or chazal nimshach yedecha be'atzim kedushas hayom ki yomim agod meim b'believe in siyas mitzvahs miyuchedes zeh. So it happens by itself. It's a chalois because of the holiday. V'hidach ha'nikbrach ha'yikon is called chasadim ha'mitnimim de'ima. So now all the chasadim v'nimim are in. V'hine nigmruch lehikon is called the chesadim v'nimim de'ima ki niknas gam ha'chesed ha'chesadim. V'od niknas bo gam kain, so something else comes. Ha'chesed ha'elyon shebekula v'chesadim de'or makif mitzad ima. Shuhu ha'chesed shebechesed sheba k'nisker. So this is a makif. What is this saying? Gam niknas b'yom ha'gadol hazeh. This is the first day of Sukkot. Shahu Yom Tov Rishon the Chag SUCCOS. HaChesed the Rishon, the first chesed came in. Shahu HaChesed the Elyon the chesadim mekifim, which is the upper chesed of the chesadim mekifim. The boy mitzad ima, they come from ima. Shahu Chesed the chesadim, it's the chesed the chesadim mekifim the ima, which is a makif keniska the el. Ki call a mekifim niknasim b'bedrega kasidrim. So this is the way the makifim go. You're going to get the highest one first. So he says, Ki hare kol hachasadim mishachat the makifim niknas and kasidra. Me'ela the top one comes in. The way that it goes with makifim, it's the opposite. Is that the big one comes in first. So the me'ela the tata and rishon chesed the chasadim. V'achrav Kesidrim Gevur Teferes Netzach Hod Yisod Malchus V'lo Kamocha Chesadim V'Benim De'ima, which come in on Niknasim, the Hefach that comes in opposite Mitata the Elah. Harisha the Malchus V'achrav Yisod etc. Hod Netzach Hod Yisod Gevur and Chesed. So first of all, first question I had over there is that I always thought there were two makifim. Here he's saying there's a makif for each one of the spheros that we're dealing with. So he said, so this happens as a result of the mitzvah of the sukkah. But chesed agadol, the makif, the ima, nikdas b'yom tov rishon, it comes in on the very first day of Yom Tov. The mitzvahs yeshiva sukkah, and how that happens. So here, though, sitting in the sukkah actually brings in that first big time makif. So now we say why this is a complete and total Yom Tov. B'yom Tov Rishon the Chag HaSukkos. So now we understand why it's such a big day. Lama Yom Tov Rishon the Chag HaSukkos Ena Kashar Yom in the Sukkos is not like all the rest of the days of Sukkos. Shehem Rak Chol HaMoed, which represent Chol HaMoed. V'Yom Rishon Osin Doso Yom Tov Gamor. Because of that, the first day, we're talking Eretz Yisrael has only one day. Osin Osach of Yom Tov Gamor completes a complete Yom Tov. Even if there's a Zich Yichud at that time. But Dama Rishon, who the original reason, because this is where you can see the complete entrance of that. Tama Rishon, who ki bo b'yom nishlabel hikonis kol the chesadim bebenim de'ima, because in that day all the chesadim are finally in. That is of the chesadim benimim. Below od elishabel niknas a chesed elyon shebekulam and nikrach of yomam. Yoma the kol the kulchu yomin kanoidim. So the first, that last one, the chesed, is yom the kula. Below rak shenishlam the hikones kol the chesadim benim de'ima. Elishabo b'yom niknas gam chesed am rishon and nikra yomam. Shehu kolo kol the chesadim nikra yomim, because the chesed has all the rest of them in it and mispashet bekulam, and it spreads into all of them. So he said, "V'tam Hasheni who ki bo hiskil his pashtus of chesadim and makivin the iba." So that starts then at that time as well. But Tam Hasheni shenikra Yom Tov. So why is it called a holiday? Who be Yom Hazech Maskida the Hikonas Benuk, because that's where everything that is which was chesadim, the chesadim and makivin the iba, which is the big time chesadim, because it starts at the top. Just sitting in the sukkah brings in the makif. So there you is, the sukkah itself is a makif. Below od el shabon is pashet the makif, because in that other makif ha'elding shabakula k'nizkar. That's what we just said. The b'brat shenektat b'yom zeh also a makif ha'elding because of the kifim shuchu chesed v'chesadim the chesadim k'nizkar the el shamakifim. The Iba Niknasim B'Geseda L'Lamal, as we said before, the first one, the big one comes first. V'hinei Naida Ki Chibuk HaYomin. Let's talk about that. Enu Maska L'Asas Ela B'Yom Zeh. So the hugging of the right side only happens then. V'Yudua Ki Chibuk HaYomin Shuch HaMakifim. Afal Pi Shamarna L'Eil Shemaskil B'Mutza Mamotza Yom Kippurim, even though we said that. Kim Oz Maskida the Hikonas Chesed Benim De'ima. V'Yom Obir Harav La'elis explained this. The Chesadim Heim so the Kibuk Ayomim. So the Chesadim, that's what it is, at the right side. V'Im Kain. So if there of Yemina Tach Pekeni, so therefore you have this phrase: your right hand should hug me. Maskil Memasai Shemaskida the Hikonas Chesadim. It starts from that side at that time. El B'Kol Makom Ein of Maskil the pole, but doesn't do anything. Rak B'Yom Tov Rishon Shel Chag, even though that they're in, it's only on the first day of the Chag that they actually start bringing this right hand in, that is the right side. Shahaz Maskil the Hikonas and Mekifim the Nuk Me'ima Ayedesh Nimshach Al Zen. Now she keeps saying that's coming directly from Ima. That she has the chesadim. I'm back over here with the chesadim. We're on top of the head of Zeranpin. And now he's saying that they're actually going into the nook. And from that right arm, the Zer Anpin, he says, Mispashet, he says, what happened, Mispashet, the nook, they spread into the nook of Moshe Haram, Mevoyer Besucha, Mevoyer Besucha, Ku Shnei Defanos Shlemim. You have to have two complete walls. V'dovin Shlisha Tafach, and the other one could be one Tafach. So Zerul Yomim and the Zah. So this is the concept of the right hand Zah. V'lechein b'yom tov rishon shel chag SUCCOS sheniknasim makifin de'ima, that where you get this, nikra chibuk yomim, so it comes out to be the right hugging, the right hand hug. Shehu ikr hachibuk, which is the ikr, the real hugging. V'hin necha v'kol ikr tikun nuk. So now we understand that the real tikkun of the nook really takes place with the chesadim. So the tikkun the nook, when she's around the front of Zer Anpin, there's already been an asira. So how in fact does she actually move around to the front through these chesadim? Especially those. The Rav also explained that. So this way he said, prepare the throne with chesed. Ve'ein ikar tikunah ela besod hachasadim hamagdilim also. B'noidek ki hachesed nikra yomim. So he said the chesed is called right. V'chachag SUCCOS hu besod v'yamini tach bekeni. Im came, if that's the case, nimsa ma'acher yom kippur b'chad shmini atzeres. We find that from Yom Kippur until Shmini Atzeres, he chivuk yomim shehu knisas hachasadim benuk. So that whole time between of the days of Sukkot before you get to Shmini Atzeres is a nikra olam hakiseh, which is called the world of the throne. V'chein malchus nikra gam came kiseh. Malchus is also called that by the throne. The Zer Anpin ba'olam b'chatzilus. Ki kol haknasis tikun malchus nikra. He says hakonas. Excuse me. Ki kol hakonas, all the preparation of the tikun of malchus nikra kiseh. Hu ayedeh hasadim hanikra chibuk hayomim. V'kol ha'over asal avodah b'chul l'sakin the kiseh so the malchus. V'hu rak ha'yedech shechazam mischabek b'yamidech b'noisen l'chasadim. B'noided, that is. Ki ein chibuk ela b'or ha'makif, that's only the way that the chibuk come ha'machabek as a nuk b'chutz shalom. Now, I'm not sure I got that. Another ki ein chibuk, because you had a chibuk which was small before that. Hare yeduahu ki chibuk ha'yomim, that chibuk, it only works with the chesadim and makipim, which is a concept of the sukkah. Kiso the chibuk hu or makif, a machabek b'chutz. So that's a concept of hugging. Is it coming from the outside? V'im came a miyom rishon the SUCCOS, as maskil chibuk hayomin. That's when this takes place. Concept once again a surrounding. So it comes out from everybody said, Ki b'yom tov rishon the chag SUCCOS, sheboim ikar oros chesadim shehem b'kivim de'ima, maskil chibuk hayomim, that's when the chibuk of the right side starts. V'ram maskil li'ikonis bo ha'chesed ha'gadola the chesadim b'minim b'kivim de'zeranpin. V'zech episode v'lekachtem lochem b'yom rishon. You should take it for yourself on the first day. So that's part of the pasuk. V'zech episode the pasuk v'lekachtem lechem b'yom rishon pri eitz hadar. V'nikra rishon al shem ha'chesed the rishon. So they come because of the first chesed shenikdas b'yom rishon, which is coming in on that first day. B'az maskil inyan achibuk, and that's when you start to see this idea that the sukkah is really kind of hugging you. Now, even though we said the chesadim and penimim had already come in, so even so, let me see what it says here. So even though we say the chesadim and penimim, the kavar hiskila the hikane ve'erev yom kippur, may start way back then. But the main thing takes place on this day, the first day of Hilkeh, Kibo, Maskil, his Pashtas, chesadim, and Makifim, which are much more powerful. Kuhan Nikra Yom Rishon. Elakeva should be Yom Zechav Maskil, Achibak the Yomim. The Hand should be Yom Maskil, Achasadim, and Makifim, the Makifim, the Ima. The Hakiv as the Nook to surround the Nook, Shu Ikra Achibuk. The Chain Hayom Zechav Nikra Rishon, Vuhu Yom Tov. Now going on in Sechet B'Lechein Hu Yom Tov Gomor, so there it's a complete Yom Tov. L'chein Yom Rishon the Chag SUCCOS Nikra Yom Tov Gomor Ki Bo Niknas Chesed Agodo the Chesadim Makifim the Ima. So this is the biggest one. This is going to be the Chesed, I guess, of the Makif. For Chesed Agodo the Chesadim B'Nimim the Ima. So all of this is coming at the same time. Because before that, it's a regular weekday. Should be Yom Rishon. Does not count the days before Yom Tov Rishon. Hem Yemei Chol. So it's still not there. Many chesadim, the chesadim b'nimim, afilu shegavor niknasim b'yom ahem chesadim b'nimim de'ima, lefi she'ena inyan achibuk, because it's not a chibuk, ki enam ikrach achibuk, because that's not what it is. Ela chesadim b'makifim, that's the one that does it. Hem ikr achibuk de'yom kenizka de'el. Sharak b'makifim rolam chibuk, because only that's the only place where you can see that right hand hug. V'od shadokha v'choya niknas rak chesed echad b'kol yom. V'od tam shenikra yom tov. Ki kol yom choya niknas chesed v'nimi echad. So one chesed came in, a different one. V'od b'yom tov v'rishon shel chag SUCCOS. Niknas ucha v'arba chesadim v'yachad. All four of them come in at one time. V'elucha v'eluchem chesed the makiv the ima. Chesed the v'nimi the ima. Chesed the makiv the zah. That's got me off a little bit here, what he's saying. So this, when we call Chasibos from the Sukkar the move on, Lamba B'Yom Tul L'Chodesh Tishrei, why on the 15th, which is the first day of Sukkot, Hu Yom Tov, V'al Osa Yom Kosa B'Teiro, V'Lekachtem L'Chem B'Yom Rishon Pri Eitz Hadar. So what's going on the first day? Avach V'Im Kol Zeh, Ein bechem the fetus apayim v'slichus v'hesped. It's this, and therefore there's no tachnun and there's no hesped on that day. Membekol makom afal pisha yomim bein yom kippur v'chag SUCCOS ein bechem kedushas yom tov. Avach bekever sheniknasim b'yomim achem chesadim b'nimim. Yesh bechem kitzas yom tov, because they have a little shtickle aspect that day. So therefore we're not going to be doing tachnun. Bein noflim al paneihim, bein omnin slicha v'lo tzidkos chotzedek. You don't say any of these things. V'lo misanim, and we don't fast. V'lo maspidim, also we don't eulogize. V'kem pesaku rumo b'shulchan aruch. Avayom rishon the sukkah, but let's go to the first day of Sukkot. Ki niknesucha b'shnei bechinas yachad. Two things happen at the same time. Avayom rishon the chag SUCCOS niknasim b'yom zech b'shnei bechinas yachad. B'nimi Makif, both of them happened at the same time. B'nimi the chesed agodah the ima, mach mesayom. So because of the day, you have the normal coming in, the chesed, the top chesed is coming in, mach mesayom. Makif the chesed, also the makif the chesed agodah, the big makif comes in at this time too. So the ima, al yedech b'mitzvus SUCCOS. Lo od eldish hem apnimi hagodah shebekulam hakolo lekulam v'makiv hagodah shebekulam gamge. So you have the big time chesed, the yom shekulo, and then you also have the first makiv. But parat she'oz niknasin v'apnimi hagodah shekolo kol apnimi v'gam amakiv hagodah b'kol mekifim gam niknas b'os yom. So this is a big time thing there. It comes in on that day. L'chein ku Yom Tov Gomor, so there it's a complete Yom Tov. We call the Tamim and Iskarim of Vurach Yom Tov Gomor, so here we see that this is a complete and total Yom Tov. We call the Bechinas of all of the aspects. If Yom Shala Achra, now the days that come after that, Afal Pisha ain't niknas b'kol yom mehem, so nothing's coming in at that particular time. So rak makif echa bilvav, only one makif. In other words, there's no more benimim coming in. Avacha b'meha chol moed SUCCOS, afilu she'ein niknas b'kol yom rak makif echa de'ima bilvad. Ayedecha b'mitzvah yeshiva sukkah, because you're sitting in the sukkah, it's bringing in this makif. Im kol zecha kevan she'ein b'chinas makifim, but since they're makifim, she'hem oros gedolim ma'od yosecha min benimim, so therefore it has a lot of power. Mikol makom eidach kamo achosadim abenimim, she'hem oros ketanim klape oros amakifim agedolim. Kenizker ki ein nikra kibuk yomim, because it's not caused by the right hand hug. Ela b'chinas makifim. That's what you need. Gemoshos karnal el. Ein nikra kibuk yomim, because it's not called a right hand or right side hug. Yomim. Ela b'chinas oros and makifim. That's where you see that. So therefore, you need the makifim that takes place on the first day. Einam chol gomor. So therefore, it's not completely and total whole. Einam yom tov gomor. Also, it's not complete yom tov. Avacha b'nikroim chol moed. V'lechein b'yomim sheniknasim b'chasada b'makifim einam kamoch b'yomim sheniknasim b'chasada b'nimim. Hanikroim yemei chol. V'chasurach b'hesped v'tain is like that, the same thing. V'eidach v'kamoch b'yom sheniknasim maki v'gadol, but it's not the same thing as when the maki v'gadol comes in. Hanikrach of yom tov. Ela nikroim chol moed. V'hindachem b'ma sheniknas b'chem huzeh. So what coming into them is this. V'hindachem b'seidach ha'chasadim sheniknasim b'mech ha'chol b'moed. Heim kodel lochlon. Ki b'yom sheni v'shlishi v'revi'i v'chamishi d'chag SUCCOS. During those days, niknasim arbach mekivim shal gevura teferes netzachot shebenuk considering me'ela detata connectav le'el. It's chol moed, but you still have these lower makifim coming in. Ki b'yom sheni v'shlishi v'revi'i v'chamishi d'chag SUCCOS niknasim arbach chasadim v'makifim shal gevura. But teferes netzachot yisod shal lenuk considering melamalamadah. So it's coming in. These are the makifim. The ha'ila yom sheni gevura de chesadim makifim. B'yom shlishi teferes de chesadim makifim. B'yom revi'i netzach de chesadim makifim. Okay, we're coming towards the end here. Makifim b'yom chamishi ho de chesadim makifim. B'yom shishi niknasach klalos de chesadim makifim b'yisod shabo. Yom Shishi niknasim yisod the chesadim amakifim and nikra klalos chesadim amakifim b'yisod the no. Now you come to the seventh day. Nikra Hoshana Rabbah niknas klalos chesadim amakifim b'malchus shabo. So this is like the yisod of it. Yom Hashvihi the Chag SUCCOS and nikra Yom Hoshana Rabbah niknas malchus the chesadim amakifim and nikra klalos the chesadim amakifim b'malchus no. So it's the malchus. So he's boyer bechidas. So it's explained the bechidas of Rishonim she'em chasadim b'nimich and b'kifim b'tzadima. V'harach and his boyer bechidas of Rishonim she'em chasadim b'nimim de'imach haniknasim be'erev yom haKippurim ad yom tov rishon shel chag SUCCOS. V'chasadim b'kifim de'imach haniknasim b'yom tov rishon. That time it's specifically shel chag shad ad Hoshana Rabbah. Habechidas hasheni hu hachasada b'nimach ha'makifim b'tzad zar mispashit b'nok. V'chabechidach hashniya ki hachasada b'nimach ha'makifim mispashit megufa d'zer anpin d'nok b'yom tov rishon shel chag SUCCOS ad Hoshana Rabbah. Heim gam came al derek hanizker. So they're the ones that really, this is the way that we had mentioned. V'heim al derek makifim de'imach hanizker the ale. The big one comes in. So what's happening now? You have a lulav, you have the different species there. So then we also have a kafos. So he says makifim come in as a result of going around the mizbeach o hateva bizmanenu zeh shel hagalos al yedecha akafas alula v'yiminov hachasadim and makifim to zer anpin niknasim benuk. They all come into the nuk of zer anpin Ayedecha b'kafas hamizbeach im arba minim, with the arba minim is man habayis, that what we did the time of the base of Migdash. Uv'avanaseiach of Rabbim shegalein Shulchan Avinu Ana Mekivim as a teva instead on Romez the Mizbeach, which is similar to Mizbeach. V'hinei, he says like this: V'shevi Yemei HaChag, on the 7 days of the holiday, Niknasim Sheish Bechinas B'nimihim the Chesidrim. V'sheva Bechinas Mekivim Chesidrim Me'ela the Tata. Let's see what he says. V'shas Yemei HaChag, and we're going through the days of the holiday. B'kol Mon V'sheva Yemei HaChag, Niknasim Echad Mesheva Bechinas Chesadim B'nimihim Dezer Anpin B'natilas Lulav. So the Besinim comes in when you take the Lulav. Chesidrim Me'ela the Tata, and they come from the top to the bottom. The Neknasim Gam came B'kol Yom Echad Mesheva Bechinas Chesadim B'kivin Dezer Anpin Chesidrim Me'ela the Tata. The Lafukia B'nimim De'ima, which is opposite of B'nimim De'ima, Shehem Neknasim B'tata Le'ela, where they come in from the bottom to the top. Now there's something in there I missed, but I know we're running out of time. V'achash b'charna the drosha kola be'inyan the yamim ba'azmacha be'inyan mitzvahs hasukkah be'inyan mitzvahs halulav v'achash shabir harav b'derek klalos. Now I explain it in general. So the yamim shebein yom kippurim l'sukkos sheniknasim oros the sheva chasada b'nimin de'ima, that this is all coming in at that time. Be'etzem b'yamim b'li ma'asach b'mitzvah, without a ma'asach b'mitzvah. Besod mitzvahs HaSukkos al yada niknasim sheva oros the chesed b'kivin de'ima, because that's what happens during the 7 days of Sukkos. Besod mitzvahs netilas halulav, when you take that, shal yada niknasim b'chesed b'nini dezer anpin, this brings it the chesed b'nini dezer anpin. Besod the kafas of his beil shal yada niknasim b'chesed b'kivin dezer anpin, so then they come in at that time too. Nachsa devar called drush mechem b'finei atzman derek prat v'zechem hachler. I'm going to bring in that right now. Choser kan the rav devar b'pratos mechas chalos me'aschala ich mamshichen kol bechinos b'derek prat. How it is specifically, they're all going to come in. So I have a question here. In general, I guess we're out of time. Is that right?
Yeah.
We went a little bit longer. Is that he got me confused, because first he talked about the chesadim that were coming from Ima. So I have a question about that. How exactly does that happen? Because originally Ima is bringing in Gevuros, I thought. So he says, and then he switches over and he says, what's happening on Sukkot itself is you have the chesadim of the makifim coming in, but from Zeranpin. So it's a little confusing to me, and maybe we'll get it the next time. That's it. Have a nice, safe trip. Full shalom to your mother. I know it's a difficult time. So all of our prayers should go in that direction. It should become a refuah shalema. Amen.